And see, young guys, like I've said before, are at the bottom of the barrel. You are at the bottom of the pyramid. You're worth nothing because you don't have anything, because you're too young. You haven't done anything. You haven't acquired any experience, any acquired knowledge, nothing. You have nothing going for you. And so, of course, you're at the bottom. And of course, when somebody is at the bottom and they're starting out and it's hard and it's quite a bit of a shock. It's a shock to realize how difficult it really is to achieve the things that you really want, because it is, right? And as you struggle to achieve these things that you want, and you start to realize how truly difficult it is, there comes this moment, and it's a very tempting moment, for you to throw in the towel, for you to embrace this black-pilled philosophy, to embrace nihilism, to embrace meaninglessness in your life. There is an enormous temptation to do that, to embrace this black pill wisdom, quote unquote, and drape around you this black cloth that is really a shroud, a funeral shroud for your life. So there's the blue pill, there's the red pill, and then there's the black pill. What does this all mean? Well, the blue pill and the red pill come from the movie The Matrix, of course, which created this metaphor whereby the people who took the blue pill believed the mainstream narrative, the narrative that the powers that be want you to believe, whereas the people who took the red pill saw reality for what it really is, right? They saw the truth behind the lies. They saw the distance between reality and the narrative. But from this blue pill, red pill dichotomy came a third notion, which is the black pill. And the black pill seems very sophisticated when you're young. When you're young and when your life is in the crapper, okay? And by the way, being young and having your life in the crapper is almost synonymous, but it's for another video, right? When you're young, when your life is in the crapper, you think that things are awful and your point of view becomes skewed. It becomes frankly nihilistic, right? You think that there's no purpose to life. There's no purpose to life, there's no purpose to anything, and that everybody acts for the worst, most based, most cynical reasons. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't true. It's not. You see, those who are black-pilled, they are, how could I put this? Throughout history, there have always been young men or failures who, out of anger at their failure, anger at their impotence, anger and pain of being so marginalized from the mainstream of their society, that they shit on that society and create a whole ideology based on nihilism. In point of fact, if you look through history, a lot of these groups have called themselves nihilists, right? And this is the belief that there is nothing, that life has no purpose, that life is just shit. That's what these people believe in. But you have to understand that these people who believe this shit, right, that life has no purpose, no meaning, nothing, and that everybody's awful and evil and blah, 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 these black pillars, right, they're basically losers. That's the bottom line. They're basically people who are losers. Like I said, they're either young men who haven't gotten anywhere with their lives, or they're old guys who blew it. They're losers. Losers in the literal sense. I'm not talking metaphorically that they're awful people. No, no, no. They are people who lost out. Maybe they competed, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't have the balls to compete. Doesn't matter. What happens is that, see, they didn't get anything that they wanted out of life, and because of it, because of their resentfulness, because of their anger and rage at having drawn the losing stick or what have you, right? They justify their own failures by way of this nihilism. And this nihilism, it can become very comforting, and this is the danger of the black pill. The comfort that it gives you. See, because if you believe that life is meaningless, that there is no purpose to life, that life sucks, and that we're all gonna die, and it's just awful, and everybody's evil, and all women are bitches, and they only want money, and every other man is just a evil bastard, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you think this mentality, what happens is, see, it's very comforting, see? Because it gives you an excuse not to do anything. Yeah, of course, think about it, see? See, if I think that every woman on the face of this earth is a gold-digging whore, right? Then, you know, why would I want to be associated with any such woman? Of course not. I wouldn't want to associate myself with a money-grubbing whore, so I'm not going to go after any girl. It's the excuse for failure, or worse than that. It's not just the excuse for failure. It's an excuse not to try. And that's the worst sin. That's the worst thing. That's why I hate the black pill and all those fools who peddle black pillism, or whatever you want to call it, right? It gives people an excuse not to try. It gives the perfect justification to not do shit to improve your situation. See? Your life sucks and you got a crappy job, you know, oh, that's life. It's you know, the evil powers that be that won't let you get a good job. You can't get a woman, oh, they're all money-grubbing whores, right? Or why would you want to be with them? MGTOW all the way. Yeah, because of MGTOW, that's what they are. They're black pillars. And for the reasons I'm explaining right now, I despise them. I don't have any respect for guys who are 100% MGTOW because, see, because they are not trying, see? Michael Jordan, who's not a big brain or anything like that, but he said quite correctly, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Fucking A, yeah? If you don't get in the game, if you don't try, if you don't make the effort to go out there and score, yeah, of course, you know, on the scoreboard for you, it's going to be 0, double 0, right? You're going to have nothing. But if you go out there, and even if you miss, and you try again and again and again, eventually you're going to sink a basket. Eventually you're going to start scoring. It might not be as much scoring as the other guy. The other guy might be better, for whatever reasons. Some of them fair, some of them not. Maybe he was born handsome and you were born ugly. Maybe he was born with brains and you weren't. Whatever. Maybe his parents are rich and yours are poor. Whatever advantage the other guy might have, yeah, he might outperform you. But see, if you don't try, you're never going to score anything. And if the guy who has all the breaks doesn't try, but you do, you'll win. See? And if you try hard enough and work hard enough, you eventually might surpass the guy who has all the breaks. Yeah, but right now, see, as I say those words, black pillars who are watching this video are saying, oh, you know, that's bullshit. You know, it doesn't matter how hard you try. You could never compete with a Chad. I just want to shake my head, right? I just want to shake my head because I've seen it enough times to know that's not true. I've seen enough times with guys with all the breaks and they fucked it up. They fucked it up. They were handsome, they had brains, they had education, family connections, and they amounted to nothing. I saw that plenty of fucking times, right? But black pillars, no, they don't believe that. They don't believe it. And they don't believe that by effort you can make it. No. For them, they constitutionally cannot believe that effort can bring a reward. Because again, if they believe that, then they have to ask themselves, why don't they have the things that they want? That's why you can't argue with these people. You can't argue with a black pillar. See, you can argue with somebody who has a kind of like a dour cast to him. You can argue with a guy who's even a pessimist, but you can't argue with a nihilist. You can't argue with a guy who thinks that it's all black pills, okay? Because when you try to argue with him, you do not understand who he is arguing with, because he is not arguing with you. He is arguing with himself. He is trying to justify to himself why he didn't get anything. And it could be that he tried very hard to get some dream that he had, and he failed. And that happens to all of us, quite frankly. Every single man on this earth has had a dream, a very dear dream, that died, that he failed to achieve, no matter how hard he tried. And you have it, I have it, everybody has such a dream. Every man has such a dream. But the problem with it is that black pillars, see, they gave up after that. They threw in the towel. They had a dream and they failed to achieve it, and they threw in the towel. And maybe they tried very hard. Maybe they were, lazy bums and are just trying to justify the fact that they were lazy. It doesn't really matter. The fact is, see, they missed out on their dream, they threw in the towel, and they never tried again for anything. And the black pill gives them comfort. It explains to them their failure. Yeah, I've said this repeatedly already in this video, but it's the truth. It's the bottom line issue about these people, right? And I despise them. I really do. See, I don't mind when people are black-pilled to themselves, okay? They're black-pilled and they say that, life is meaningless and it sucks and everybody's, all women are money-grubbing whores and every other guy is a bastard and everybody's evil and we're all gonna die. If they keep that to themselves, fine, I could care less. But the problem is that they proselytize. They try to sell this gospel, especially to the young. And see, young guys, like I've said before, are at the bottom of the barrel. You are at the bottom of the pyramid. You're worth nothing because you don't have anything, because you're too young, you haven't done anything, you haven't acquired any experience, any acquired knowledge, nothing. You have nothing going for you, and so of course you're at the bottom. And of course when somebody's at the bottom and they're starting out and it's hard, and it's quite a bit of a shock. It's a shock to realize how difficult it really is to achieve the things that you really want, because it is, right? And as you struggle to achieve these things that you want, and you start to realize how truly difficult it is, there comes this moment, and it's a very tempting moment, for you to throw in the towel, for you to embrace this black-pilled philosophy, to embrace nihilism, to embrace meaninglessness in your life. There is an enormous temptation to do that, to embrace this black pill wisdom, quote unquote, and drape around you this black cloth that is really a shroud, a funeral shroud for your life. It really is, because you see, you can lose years to this kind of nihilism. I thank goodness that I myself never fell into this temptation. For whatever reasons of my own, I just never caught into this kind of nihilism. But I saw several decent guys who did fall to it. One of them wound up killing himself. Yeah, Lightfoot. I talked about it in this video here. Yeah, because I realized retrospectively, with decades of experience, of course, that Lightfoot wasn't just merely a pessimist. He was a bit of a nihilist. And when things went south in his life, he decided to check out and shoot himself, because he figured that things could never be any better, and so why suffer? And I think that that's the thing that haunts me the most. That notion that if you fall for the black pill, there's really no obstacle between that moment that you fall for the black pill and take the black pill to your suicide. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away, with no obstacle in between the two. And that's what terrifies me. And that's why I despise these guys who proselytize the black pill. Because ultimately what they're arguing for is for young men to kill themselves. Life is meaningless, life sucks, you're not going to have anything, so why bother? Well, why bother means just off yourself. That's what they are saying. And I am virulently against that. See? I'm virulently against that because of the Lightfoot situation, which I talked about in detail in that video. I suggest you look at it. See? With Lightfoot, the things that happened to him 22 years ago? Yeah, 22 years ago. Happened in January of '97 that he shot himself. Yeah. And I think back at that time and his life and the situation he was in then, and I think about those 22 years and how much fortunes can change, how your life can turn around. In my own case, my life has turned around since that day, since January of '97. It's turned around almost a dozen times, radically turned around, for good and ill, right? It's been this roller coaster adventure, and it would have been the same for Lightfoot. But he gave into that nihilism. He gave into that hopelessness. And he gave into that, he shot himself, and thus deprived himself of at least 22 more years, where his situation would have turned around. and where not only would his situation have turned around, he would have found more people whom he could love and who would love him. And he probably would have become the father of strong, healthy children who would have loved him and whom he would have loved. And because of this nihilism, he threw away all of that. And so these people who peddle this black pill philosophy, this nihilism, I hate them. I hate them because they are tacitly encouraging what Lightfoot did to himself. Yeah. Yeah, this video is getting away from me again. Oh God, you know, like 1 in 3 of my videos is getting away from me. You know, my batting average is not very good. But I hope you understood my point here. I'm going to wind this video down now. I don't know how long I've gone on ranting, but you know, see these people who sell you the black pill. See, it's one thing to be like in my case that I'm selling you the red pill. The red pill is basically pragmatism. Right, pragmatism and not allowing yourself to be fooled by whatever people in power or authority are telling you. Understand that a lot of people who are in power and authority are telling you things for their own benefit, and they want to convince you of things that are just not true because it benefits them. And as you know, a guy, red pillar, right? I'm all about understanding the motivations of people and understanding what's what. And precisely because I always pay attention to people's motivation and try to suss them out and figure them out based on their motivations. I mean, based on rather their actions, right? The only conclusion I realize that these black pillars have insofar as their motivation is to excuse their failures and drag other people down in the muck with them. And that's why I hate them. And that's why I hate them, and you know, yeah. And you should too. Because black pillars are just...
¿Quieres ver más videos como este? Encuentra cientos de videos de los más grandes exponentes de la Red Pill profesionalmente subtitulados y doblados al español en el Patreon de la página www.patreon.com/la filosofía Red Pill.